coming in. Let me know what your plans are this weekend. I'm so excited to be spending some time with some family that I haven't had in a minute. But for those of you that are just tuning in, my name is Barb Pitcock, and every Saturday morning, same place, same time, no guts, no story. So this is a message that I have been bringing just by a conference call or a Facebook Live. Instagram then came to be, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the places every single Saturday morning. And I have to tell you guys, I didn't have a lot of preparation for today because it was about 10 o'clock when my nieces and nephews arrived here at the lake. And it was about midnight when my son landed, an hour and 20 minutes from here. And my husband went to pick him up. And so at 1:30 or 2 a.m., I'm usually preparing for Saturday morning, but today's message, I'm going to tell you, it really doesn't take a lot of preparation. And I am in a quiet bedroom where the kids are in the other room. There's no way that I would miss bringing you this message, but I want you guys to know, it's a little bit weird because I have two devices going here. I want you guys to know it's a really important message. And what Labor Day is really about is freedom. Labor Day is about free enterprise, right? And so when you think Labor Day, what do you think of? You think of a 3-day weekend, family. Oh my goodness, we're going to cook hot dogs and barbecue. Some people think about going to the lake, or maybe some of you are flying to a different destination where you have family. What do you think about when I say Labor Day weekend? And, the real celebration is that people get a day off work, right? People get a day off work. Most employers or companies, they close on Labor Day. And so everybody looks forward to that. But what if every single day, I want you to think about this. What if every single day could feel like Labor Day weekend? It would be so different, would it not? You could spend time with the people you love. You could wake up late. You could do whatever you wanted. Maybe you could barbecue, have a family event, decorate. What do you think of when I say Labor Day weekend? That's the first question. And then the next question that I have for all of you is, why don't you do that every single weekend? And how can we craft that with your gifts, with your strengths, with all the things that you were blessed with that you could do? Now, lately, I read a lot. I think all of you know I read a lot. I read a lot. I pray a lot. I journal a lot. And last night when Dave went to pick up our son Chance and his two little girls, I was just going through my list, right? I had one friend that lost her husband 3 nights ago, and I was up late with her, and I was thinking about it all night. And then I woke up to a message from her, and then I was praying more. And then about noon, he passed away. And it really got me thinking. And I was in this mode of like, it's a different feeling when you're thinking about someone who's lost a spouse. And then the very next day, I got a message to pray for a friend whose 19-year-old son was in a horrible accident. And all of a sudden, my heart went back to when Cindy was in her head-on collision. And I was imagining this family. Like when Cindy had her collision, it was such a mangled car. Nobody even knew how she got out. In fact, the guy that cut her out of the car with Jaws of Life said she was so calm. Most places he had ever arrived, they would be screaming, and so much shock and trauma. And he said there was such a calmness. Somehow I knew there was like a band of angels around her that she was going to make it. And a couple of nights ago, all night, I was just praying that if there could just be a band of angels around this young boy. And I was thinking of his family. And I'm going to get to a point here, you guys. This is not about death and grief. But I think the thing that we don't think about is that we're all here for a very short time, and we don't know how we're going to leave, but we're all going to exit the stage. And during this life, we trade our time for money every day just to survive. And that's the true tragedy in life, is that people stop living before they actually die, and they don't experience the freedom that we were put on this planet to experience with our gifts. I have prayed so much for both of those families. And, I'm also in a prayer chain with a girl who is struggling right now with cancer. And I messaged the guy that started the texting thread, and I was like, so how is she doing? Like all of a sudden there's like so much prayer. How is she doing? And he said, you have to pray that hard all the time, not just when it's the time of need, right? And that's a whole nother thing, guys. As an entrepreneur, I wake up every single day and I armor up. I focus on my goals. I focus on my dreams. I write in my journal. I do my gratitude. I start the day exactly how I end the day. And I think for most people, they're in a routine. They're not using their gifts. They wake up and they go to work and they take a lunch break. And during lunch, they might scroll a little bit, right? I guess before they go to work, they brush their teeth, do their hair, eat, rush to work, take the break, scroll, eat, get off work, rush home, cook dinner, do the dishes, clean up the mess, sit on the couch, scroll, or they channel surf. I don't know how to figure out what everybody does on Netflix and Apple TV with how they have to type in all their stuff. It wasn't that hard when I was growing up to just watch a show, but people must really love it because it takes 15 minutes just to get to the show they want to watch. But that's what people do. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. But I want you to think about this dash. There's a day that you're born and there's a day that you die. And there are some people that do more in their 30 years or 19 years of life than someone that has 80 years. Now, I never had a grandmother that lived to be past 70. My grandma was 60, and I think about this, and here my mom is in her 70s. My other grandma was 70. So when I think about that life and I think about myself being 54, I say, what do I want to do in the next 15, 20, 30, 40 years? And maybe some of you have never thought of this, but if you're 19 and you have your whole life ahead of you and you just graduated high school, this message is for you. And if you're 70 and you're having regrets that you haven't done what you wanted to do, well, this message is for you, because none of us know the impact that we can make with our gifts until we use them. And if we don't use them, we lose them. So when I think about my gifts, I got in trouble for being the chatterbox duck from the time I was 6 years old. Mrs. Haas, my kindergarten teacher, pulled me by my ear clear across the kindergarten floor. I got swats with a wooden paddle. I got stuck in the corner with a big washer box around me that said chatterbox duck. And I've been getting in trouble for using my gifts most of my life. But I know that my gift is to speak belief over people, speak life, speak healing, speak hope, speak encouragement. I know from the time I was a little girl, growing up in my grandmother's basement, I wrote my name on the wooden door that she had real thick sideboards around the whole house. It was like a big, old, huge boarding house, a big old limestone rock house. And I wrote my name. I was the teacher. Barbara Zorn, Mrs. Zorn. I was the teacher. I knew that I was going to teach little kids. And it's crazy because then as I got older, I taught baton twirling lessons, and then I taught dance, and then I taught Sunday school, and I loved it. That's how you know it's your gift. So we're going to dissect this because I'm going to help every single one of you just turn it up a little bit. Use your gifts, create your bliss, and achieve some freedom. I've been reading a book lately called Halftime. And if you're 40 or older, this book will literally change your life. Because you see, the first part of your life, you have these goals. I'm going to get a house. I'm going to get a car. I'm going to get a husband. I'm going to get some kids. I'm going to get a dog. I'm going to build this family. I'm going to host holidays. And then once you've done that for like 20 years, you start to say, when I'm not here anymore, this is what they're going to say. This is what they're going to remember. This is what they're going to do or have because I was here. What impact am I going to make? And when you're young, forget about it. That's out the window. No young person cares about what's the mission, right? I mean, some do. My daughter, Brooklyn, and I talk about the mission a lot. But in our family, with our company, we talk about the mission every single day. But for most people, They want to take care of themselves first. They want to take care of themselves. Hi, Brian. I see you. And Aunt Barb is one of my favorite titles. Actually, last night when Lacey Braden and their significant others showed up here at the lake house, I said today, my 40th birthday, I had all the nieces and nephews out to my house and we watched a Chiefs game. We watched the Super Bowl or something. I don't know what we did. It was March 13th, so it couldn't have been the Super Bowl, but we all wore Chiefs jerseys. I remember that. And we had this slumber party and everyone in my family was like, why do you want to have 20 nieces and nephews, one which was 3 weeks old, for your birthday? Well, family is my number one value. Family and fun. Family and fun and faith. It's not making money and business and work. However, the making money and business and work allows me, I want you to think about this, allows me the freedom to put the most important things, which are my family, fun, adventure, gatherings, holidays, trips, weddings, little granddaughter's birthday. So I want you to ask yourself, what is your gift? This is very, very important. What is your gift that God blessed you with, your talent? And I don't want you to just say one, right? Because Dave was really good at riding bulls and Dave was really good at baseball. In fact, he got a full ride scholarship to play baseball and still believes today he probably could have been a professional baseball player. But his life took a turn. And when his life took a turn and he had an injury and he was on his mom's couch and he was stinky boy because he couldn't even get off the couch. I mean, they had to help him even take a bath, shattered his left leg. They call it the Cowboy Christmas, 4th of July. And he laid there for 6 weeks healing from this injury. And I want you guys to think about this because we all have a timeline that goes like this. And there are ups and there's downs and there's ups and there's downs. And sometimes the downs give us the momentum because you're coming down that hill. It gives you the momentum to go even higher than you ever thought you would. So here's what I want you to answer as far as questions. You know what your gifts and your talents are because they come easy to you. So what comes easy to you? Dave bought me a book this week called 30 Things I Love About You. And we both write to each other 30 things we love because we've been married 32 years this year. So when Brooklyn turns 32, you got to think I was pregnant with Brooklyn when we got married. That's how I always know how long we've been together. But when we first got together, Dave would do woodworking. He loved to make things. He loved riding bulls. Like he absolutely loved riding bulls. And his dream was to be a world champion bull rider. And I can remember spending the money, going to the bull riding school, sitting there with 2 babies in a double stroller in a dirty, dusty arena, watching him strap his hand to a 2,000-pound bovine in Ark City, Kansas at Sankey Rodeo School because he wanted to be a champion. And you guys, sometimes in life, you wonder, why do bad things happen to good people? And Dave would always say, like, why do I have a metal knee with 2 bars? And he probably needs a new one, but he doesn't want to go get a new one. He just keeps putting natural remedies on it. And he's better today than he was at 30, if you want to know the truth. But his gift was a lot more than just the smell of rosin and a rope. His gift, he didn't even know yet. So we ended up in a bankruptcy situation. I don't know how many of you know this or don't know this, but Bob Dole ran for president. We went on the tour. He did not get it. We had a whole shed full of souvenirs. He was Dave's grandma's best friend or good friend. Her best friend and her were good friends with Bob Dole. They were classmates. And her friend Joyce and her would leave in the winter and they would go to Arizona and they would be snowbirds, if you will. These 2 older ladies, lived to be 90, drove a big motorhome through the passes, and they went to Arizona every year the day after Christmas, and they came back in April. Well, I remember that year, the election was happening in November. Didn't turn out like we thought. And you guys, I remember staying at her house because it had electricity, and we could stay there during the winter when she was gone. I remember having 2 babies and later 1 on the way, and literally thinking to myself, what could I do today to make $300 to pay daycare? Now, that entrepreneurial spirit, when your back's against the wall, will tell you Dave loved to ride bulls and he wanted to be a world champion bull rider, but we needed to pay our bills, right? And at the time, we were like, why is this happening to us? Why is this even happening? So one day, a complete stranger showed up in the salon. My gas was turned off. The water was cold when I would try to do someone's perm or haircut. Imagine you go to get your haircut. I did more guys' haircuts than I was so good at men's haircuts. And they would come in and I'd be like, okay, this is going to be cold for just a minute, but my hot water heater is going out. So hold your breath. Here goes. And I would like wash it real quick. And I would be like, okay, I mean, cold plunge today, that was an extra treatment they got. They didn't even have to pay for, right? But back then in 1996, that was not cool. And I did what I had to do as an entrepreneur to keep going. I did whatever I had to do with my gifts and talents. Dave did whatever he had to do. One day he said to me, you know that cane in the chairs that you see that's like braided cane? He's like, I think my grandma could teach me that when she gets back home. And I remember that spring when she got back home around Easter, he was like, Grandma, could you teach me how to cane a chair? Could you teach me how to refinish furniture? And in the back of an old Daylight's donut shop, Dave started a little shop where he refinished furniture. And the next thing I knew, he could take an old buffet or a clawfoot table or a dresser or a china hutch that was painted with 14 layers of paint. And he got this stuff called Burt's Spray and Strip. And his grandma taught him a craft how he could spray it on, scrape it off, sand it, polish it, and it was $500 a piece. It took a lot of his craft. No one else knew how to do it. And all of a sudden, he could make $500 for every piece of furniture he was doing. If they were small pieces, maybe not so much. But we found our gifts and our entrepreneurial spirit pushed us because our back was against the wall. Most people, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get another job. I'm going to work some overtime. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get a degree. I'm going to get another degree. And there is nothing wrong with that. Kudos to you for being so smart. I was a C student at best. I couldn't even read a book and tell you what it was about. I was not a brilliant minded girl, but I will tell you something that I had that nobody else had. I had a single mom that made me work, and there was ambition. Write the word down. Who do you know that has ambition? Because most people are kind of like a bump on a log. They're just sitting there waiting for success to like attack them. And then they're going to hate the people that are wealthy because they got lucky. Oh, their parents did it for them, or they came into some money. Girls, boys, I didn't come into any money. I was literally making money to help my mom feed those kids. And I was getting them diapers, and I was taking them to school, and I was watching my mom grieve as a single mom that missed the 20-year of her life marriage. She missed her best friend and partner in business. She missed her dad who had just passed away, and survival was something that we learned. And I'm so grateful for that gift because I want to tell you what happened. I knew how to twirl a baton, and the next thing I said, I'm going to teach little girls how to twirl a baton. And I lined them all up on the sidewalk, and I said $2.50 a session, and I had 10 of them, and it was $25 every 30 minutes. You have gifts that you could go right now. Let's say that you are an athlete. You could go teach other kids your craft and charge whatever you wanted. Lola got a private lesson this week for gymnastics. I went there last week for her birthday. I went to gymnastics on Thursday. I had to leave a little early because of the CEO Zoom. Just like today, I'm sacrificing. They're all eating cinnamon rolls. They're all out on the deck watching the birds. I'm right here dialed in with you, tuned in, turned on to what we're about to create. You fit as an entrepreneur, you fit your gift in the nooks and crannies of your life. And the more value you bring, the more you get paid. Don't hate me if I make $100,000 in a month. Be teachable, be coachable. Say, how could I make $100,000 in a month? I remember the first month I made $120,000. Everything was great. And a few months later, it was gone. I remember the next time I got to that level, it was amazing. And my kids were going to college. And the next thing I knew, it was gone. And I remember the third time I decided to do this, I said, you know, the root has got to be good. You got to be doing it for the right reasons, and you got to be aligned with the right people. But when you align yourself with the right people and the root is good and you make impact, when I say the root is good, there's no greed, there's no ulterior motive. You genuinely bring your gifts and your talents to make impact, to serve, to witness, to love, to change people's lives. Move over, sister. It's coming. Abundance is coming your way. There's some guys on here, I think, sisters and brothers. So let me tell you my epiphany this week. I go to an estate planning meeting because, you got to protect your assets and plan your estate. And the first thing the lady says, if for any reason you and your husband were to be in a coma, who is your power of attorney? Have any of you ever had someone ask you this? I looked at her. I thought to myself, who loves me the most? That was my first thought. And my next thought was, should there be two people that make this decision? Should there be two people that make this decision? And I want to ask you, if you were not able to speak for yourself right now and someone else had to be your power of attorney, what would the conversation sound like? And secondly, are you prepared for that day? Now, at the end of this life, we all have our own beliefs, what's going to happen, but I'm going to share with you my beliefs. And don't be offended, because you all have the right to believe whatever you want to believe. I personally don't believe that we go to some fictitious place that is up in the clouds. Like, I believe that heaven, where my soul is going to go, is on another plane where that soul can have an eternal life, and I will be with the people I love eternally for the rest of my life, and that there will be a few questions that will be asked. And these are the questions that I believe, just according to the studies I've done. What did you do with the time that I blessed you with? And I believe God is very real. He has shown up in my life several times when I wanted to give up, and just like that, everything shifted. So you don't have to take my advice. But if you're down and out, guys, I want you to try this. Answer these questions. What have you done with the time that you've been blessed with on this planet? Because I know that what I have done so far, job well done. I will have no regrets. Absolutely no regrets. Every day I wake up, I'm making impact. Every day I wake up, I'm loving, I'm serving, I'm witnessing, I'm impacting. And I'm using the gifts and the talents that God blessed me with every day, all day long. I don't think about myself. I think about you every single day. You that I haven't even met yet. I know what my assignment. What have you done with the time that I blessed you with? What have you done with the talents that I gave you? Now, I want to tell you guys something. At a time when I started a company years ago, I was coaching softball, and I've never played a sport in my life. I tried to once. My mom and dad were never home. I got an old baseball mitt at a garage sale. I wanted to look like Crystal Gayle. I put it in Rit dye because Crystal Gayle's autograph book we got at her concert, she was laying on the ground in the green grass with her long, beautiful 8-foot long hair. And she had on a red shirt and a yellow softball and a blue mitt. And I was like, I want to be like Crystal Gayle. Now, I was fair skinned with ultra white skin and freckles all over me and bright orange red hair. It has grayed over the years and it's a dark auburn now, but I was not the most beautiful girl. I was not the most popular girl, and I definitely was not an athlete. But I wanted to be. I wanted to fit in. I was trying to do something that were not my gifts and talents, was not my assignment, because I wanted to fit in. And some of you are doing things that are not in alignment with who you are at all, because you want to fit in so badly, and you're miserable every minute of it. I remember it was hot. I was sweating. I hated my life. I was on second base only because I got walked. And that's the only time I think I ever got on base. I would strike out every single time. But when I got back around and took off my mitt, my entire hand was blue. And I remember getting made fun of and laughed at. I never went to another softball game as long as I lived as a player. But years later, when I was successful and I was free and I had the time freedom to do and be and have anything I dreamt of, all I wanted to do was to help my kids experience the things that I never got to experience. Now, I wanted them to have a work ethic, and they do. I wanted them to understand the value of a dollar, and they do. They've made their own. All three of them have been entrepreneurs, had businesses. They've learned the lessons. But at that point in my life, I had more money than I ever dreamt of, and I was volunteering my time. I would do a sock hop to fill the food pantry, and I would have all the little girls at the dance school come in their socks. I would go volunteer to be the softball coach, even though I didn't know how to play softball. And I would be on a conference call in the office coach. My gift was this, helping people make money, dream big, move forward. But I wanted to be a good mom. My most proud accomplishment of anything I've ever done, I will tell you, I was the best mom I knew how to be with what I had at the time. Today, I would do it different. Not a lot of things, but I definitely wouldn't spend 10 hours on a Sunday at a dance school, and I wouldn't allow it. That's the only thing I wish I would have done different. If I was president for one day and I could change anything in the world, there would be absolutely no sports on Sundays, no practices on Sundays. And when there was a holiday that you could have one more time with your grandma or your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister, there would be no extracurricular activities allowed on a holiday, because I think we should keep the most important things the most important things. And the people you love and time with the people you love should always be the most important thing, because it's the one thing you can never get back. But other than that, time and talent, I was just donating my time. I wasn't using my talents, my gifts. And one day I was sitting in a church pew in Hays, Kansas. Now, when our moms went through their divorces, let's be clear, I didn't spend a lot of time in church. When Dave's little brother passed away after his suicide in 2000, we didn't spend a lot of time in church. I still had faith because of the root. I still believed that God was real because of the foundation my grandmother gave me, but I was not a plugged in to a spiritual community type of a girl. And I never push religion on anyone, but this is my belief. The minute I got back, it's not religion. It's not religion. It's not a church. It doesn't matter what church you go to. Some of you are going to argue with me, and that's okay. I think you have the right to be wrong, but I do believe the minute you get on your knees and connect with this inner Holy Spirit that all of us are born with, and you say, I need you. I cannot do this on my own. I want to use my gifts. I want to use my talents. I need you to open the door. I need you to bless my business. I need you to show me favor in my life, protection, patience in my decisions. Like, show me the way. I want to tell you guys what happens. Heaven and earth moves. It moves. And as long as you try to do it on your own, this world we live in is a life of constant, it's redemptive suffering is what it is. It is constant suffering, and things are good and then things are bad. And then things are really, really good and then things are really, really bad. It's the ebb and flow. It's the contrast that helps us know what we want and what we don't want. The problem is when most people have the ebb and the flow, when they go down, they just stay there. Nothing good ever happens to me. I'm the victim. Why is this always me? No, that's why. Because you keep saying it and you want to play the victim card. And the minute that you say, I'm going to use my time, I'm going to use my talents, I'm going to use my gifts, show me the way, the opportunity comes. Success will never attack any of you. That year, I believe it was 2002, Dave and I started making a decision that we were going to do something really big. And when we made the decision with that foundation, there was an influx of over $1 million in 93 days, 94 days. So we had this idea, this name of this product came to me. It just like my creative mind moved. People, we had a non-compete. We couldn't even talk to any of our previous customers. It was explosive success. And we built that, and it was sustainable, and it was going, and it was this amazing ride. And then we got in alignment with people who were not like us. And some of you, I'm not going to say sell your soul, but some of you will stay stuck in alignment with something that makes you so grossed out. You hate every day of your life. You cannot stand your job. You know not to keep doing it. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your marriage. It's not good for your sleep. None of it. Hi, guys. I see you on Instagram. I see all the waves. Some of you, you're doing something that you hate every single day, trading time for money. So from the time I was little, when my mom and dad were together even, they would get the Shopper's Journal. We would drive to Salina, Kansas. We would buy an ugly boat. We would redo the upholstery, put new carpet, flip it, and make several $1,000s. That was our vacation money. There was always a way to create opportunity. I think I was just born to be an entrepreneur. It's not for the weak. Most people, they want to have their own schedule. Do they not know what time it is? I ain't working right now. Okay, you are not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur does whatever it takes. You can set some hours. You can have some boundaries. But an entrepreneur does whatever it takes to get from point A to point B because they know they're the CEO of their business. They're the CEO of their dreams, their goals, their life. Some of you are not the chief executive officer of anything. You're just barely getting by. You haven't made a decision what you want. You have no idea what your talents are. You've never thought about your gifts. You don't have any boundaries with the people around you. Your environment sucks the life out of you and everyone else, and you're just sitting in the middle of it. Here's what Jim Rohn would say. You're not a tree. You can move. You can change your environment and it will change your life. But I will tell you, I had to get some new friends. You will be the average of your 5 closest friends. And some of you think you have good friends. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Do they gossip? Do they speak down about other people? Do they call you with the T on someone? Because here's the hard lesson I had to learn. God doesn't bless that. You'll just be struggling because you're in business with people where the root is not good. And if you're the gossip, change that habit. That's the cancer in the group of any organization, any culture that literally sucks the life out of it. You got to be in the business of building people up, even if they're doing better than you. Even if you don't like the way they're doing it. When you build people up, you get built up. When you tear people down, your business gets torn down. That's the laws of the universe. The book I've been reading, this is my second time through, Halftime. Highly encourage it. I just marked a couple spots today because we're talking about being an entrepreneur. We're talking about free enterprise. We're talking about what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to be and really build a huge brand. I want my life to count. I want you to think about that. I want my life to count. If your own mission statement fits you as well, it will be the right one for you. If it focuses into something that does not fit, it's somebody else's mission. And I want you to think about what you do on the daily. Are you going to work 8 hours a day so you can take your family to Hawaii? Or are you going to work 8 hours a day to just pay the bills so that the CEO can take their family to Hawaii? Because you need to find a side gig to where even if you work 8 hours a day on your real job, your degree, your position, whatever you got, and then you come home and you work 2 or 3 hours, you need a side gig that's going to help you take your family to Hawaii, take your family to Alaska, pay off your debts, your mortgage, your dream home, your car, your vacation, your little granddaughter's birthday party. Now, if you're committed and you say you're going to do it, I want to read a few things that I have underlined. The primary loyalty of my life is my Savior. I'm committed to fully put into play every single day of my life the talents and the gifts that He has given me. so that I can be of service in him. So don't look at Barb Pitcock and say, oh, she's talking about making money. No, I'm talking about doing the work that I was put here because that is my gift, my talent, my mission, and always giving him all the glory. There's no ego here. I am committed to my marriage and my children and my family. Till death do us part, nothing is more important than God first, then my family. What is your mission? I want you to think about this. I am committing my time to make impact, to create more growth and momentum and success in other people than I've ever experienced, with a mission to leave a legacy through frequency-tuned, frequency-embedded products that are high-impact products, result-driven products. And because of my mission with that, I will create an empire that will then build the legacy. So you could work and be a dentist, but if you're a dentist and you make $1 million, what's the legacy? You're going to leave a dentist office? What if the next people don't want to be a dentist? So you've got to think, like the lady asked me, who's your power of attorney and what are you going to leave when you die? And I said, I mean, my kids might get something, but this legacy is going to build recovery centers all over the world. I'm going to bring families together with my story, my mission, my impact, so that when you do have a loved one, like I had with my daughter, Brooklyn, who is struggling and needs to be somewhere, and I take her there, they don't say, sorry, you don't qualify. Oh, she's not suicidal today. Oh, she's clean today. She doesn't have any drugs in her system. We're going to send you over here to outpatient. No, that's the broken system. That took 10 years of my life and 2 overdoses where she literally died in an ambulance. See, the system is broken. I can either complain about it or I can make a difference. And I know that I know that I know, I know that I know that I know that I can make a difference. I'm also reading a book by Mary Kay Ash. And that woman made a difference. And that woman made a lot of money, but she changed a lot of lives. And I'll tell you something. She had to get up at 5 a.m. to do it. She had to stay up late to do it. She had to sacrifice some of her family time to really build that place that covers almost a full square mile. And even my dad's wife is a distributor of that company. Like, it's a household name. If I'm going to build a company that's going to be a household name, I'm going to have to sacrifice. How big is your dream? Do you want a small business? Do you want to leave a college fund to your grandkids? Do you want to build a church? Do you want to create a place where kids can come and their sports are all free? Like, my business partner pays for 750 kids a month to have cleats, basketball shoes, backpack, traveling expense, meals, flies them in a jet, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, he's doing it. That's his foundation. You got to have a dream so big it wakes you up at night, and in the morning you jump up and say, I can't wait to get started. And until you have that, you'll be like a ship without a rudder, just kind of going through life. Whatever happens, that's what happens. I'm not going to be that person. I'm encouraging you to not be that person. Free enterprise means if you live in America, you can start any business you want. I can help you find the capital. You'll find people that'll back you. You can get a website built in a day. You can have a sales page. You can do whatever you want if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to work that hard, you can join a team of entrepreneurs, which I've made more money being a part of a team with a life-changing product and a mission and a comp plan and good culture than I ever made with the brands that I created. Now, you guys know we created a company with vibrational essential oils. We were the first to take CBD to the market. I made a lot of money. I could make $50,000 in a day if I went to market, but it wasn't sustainable because when I stopped, the income stopped. When I got pulmonary lung disease and I couldn't speak and talk and sell, and I was on this breathing machine, there was no money coming in. Why I believe in what I do is because we are building an army. And if you build it once and you get this momentum going and you have a product that's good and people are on a subscription and they love the product and it's changing people's lives, and you stop, nobody's stopping their subscription because you made impact. I don't know what you do for a living, but I want you to drop in the comments, what is your gift? If you love dogs, go groom dogs, go walk dogs, babysit dogs, breed dogs, take pictures of dogs, oil paint dogs. If dogs is what you love, go do dogs. I love dogs. I helped my daughter open a pet hotel. She was in her early 20s. We could make $2,500 every Friday and Saturday just babysitting dogs. It was the funnest thing I ever started. But pretty soon, 27 dogs, 32 dogs, it was a lot. We didn't have any more room for dogs. Like, you're going to reach your capacity. I could cut hair. I'm so good at cutting hair. But here's the thing. I go to work in the morning at 7. I would get off at 7 at night. My kids were at daycare. Then I would get done cutting hair, go teach dance till 9:30 or 10. I was trading time for money, and I could make some jack, let me tell you. And I love it. I love making people look beautiful. But I was missing out on the most important thing. And one day I realized this is not my jam. I wanted to be an author. Oh my gosh, they put me on a plane. If you go look in 2011, I think it is, in every airport, in every Borders bookstore, there I was. Barack Obama, Sarah Palin, both had books. Guess who was right in the middle of them? Go look at my author Facebook page. You'll see the pictures. There I was, smiling on my book, signing all my books, running around the country. I did 22 bookstores in a day in one airport. If you don't believe me, go to Atlanta. There's 22 bookstores in one airport. You got to go to every wing. They're everywhere. Barbara's bookstore even. I missed Chance's football season, signing books. There's no money in books. The author doesn't get jack. The publisher gets the money unless you self-publish. And I realized one day, all the money from my book was going to my nonprofit, Invisible Angels, and I was speaking in schools. But being a best-selling author on a billboard for my ego was not my dream. And I told the publisher, I ain't going to sign any more books. And I still have one case of books left. The reality is, you got to understand what's most important to you. And egoism is not it. You got to learn that on your own. Altruistic egoism. This is a definition. Altruistic egoism means gaining personal satisfaction by helping other people. It recognizes a self-interest as central to my human design, but it counts as a greatest gain the goodwill of one's neighbors. Ego is not bad. You got to know that you're good. But ego is edging God out. You got to think ego versus bank account, right? Is this good for me to feel significant? Or is this really going to bring value and impact the lives of others, which will then in turn bring value back to me? Be committed to being a really good friend. Be committed to being a really good neighbor. Be committed to being a really good example to those little ones that are watching you. I thought it was amazing to say being a mom is the most important role I've ever had. And then I had grandkids. And there is nothing more important than the example that I am setting and the legacy that I am building and leaving through this free enterprise opportunity. What is your free enterprise opportunity? What are you going to do? You could have a landscaping business. You could babysit. You could, oh, I see someone dropping a bunch of spam. You could go write a book. You could be a coach. You could have yoga classes. Like, what is it that you love? I'm going to encourage you to get a paper out and write down what you would do if you knew you couldn't fail. I don't care how old you are. And I want you to write down your gifts, your skills, your talents. How would you answer this? What have you done with your time, your talent, your treasures? You know, the year I was helping with softball, I looked at Dave and said, I'm glad to help Cali's softball team, but I'm wasting my time because this is not my gift. This is not my talent. This is not my assignment. I will do that for fun, but I'm going to step into what I know God's plan is in my life. And I got on my knees and I prayed, God, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but they always say, God equips the ones that he calls. He doesn't call the ones that are equipped. And the resources will line up. The people will line up. Everything will fall into place, but you've got to move. When you move, God moves. And with it being Labor Day, don't just have a hot dog and a beer and a boat fun day with your family. Think about free enterprise, what you could do with everything that you've been blessed with, and ask yourself, how will you make impact? I love that, Brian. I see that. You should become a pastor. You definitely should. And you would help so many people, and God would bless your life because you're stepping into your story, your failures. You didn't fail. You just haven't finished. That's what I keep telling myself. I never failed. I just haven't finished. And when you step into that, drop in the comments, what is your gift that you're resisting because you're afraid? What is your talent that you know you have that you're not using? What is it that you could do and be and have if you would just get out of your comfort zone and do it? And if you don't know how to do that, let me be your mentor. I will mentor you, coach you, plug you right into a system that's done for you so that you can generate the income to do the things that you really want to do. And I'm going to tell you guys, the only thing standing between you and a completely different life is you. Stop blaming everyone else. Take full responsibility for where you're at. It's part of your story. It's part of your superpower. It's part of your conditioning. My son Chance in 2017, one of the worst years of our life, he said, Mom, this is our character building year. And let me tell you, by the time 2020 came, it was 10x anything anyone had taken from us. And then 2023 was pretty rough. And then 2024, it was 10x anything we ever thought was the worst. You've got to step into it and believe that you're built not to break. If you have a dream in you, God put it there. Don't resist that and keep pushing it down. Just step into it and say, I need help. I need a mentor. I need a coach. Everything will line up. The minute that you move, God will move. And in 1996, checks bouncing for baby formula, Brooklyn's birthday party, a sheriff at the gate. Dave, you have to come with me. You'll check at Bogart's grocery store. I have to arrest you in front of everyone in your family at this birthday party. Devastating. But 1998, Dave was making more in a month than we used to make in a year, telling his story of financial failure and how he learned a better way. And guess who came and followed Dave Pitcock? Guess what his niche was? Everyone in a financial failure. And he's been helping them for 30 years, even wrote a book called The Thinking Cure. How to change your thoughts and change your life. Don't stay stuck. You live in an incredible time where it's simpler than it ever has been with social media, e-commerce, all the things. All you got to do is define your dreams, write them down, get a burning desire for their achievement, and then say, what is my gift? What is my talent? Here's how you figure it out. What can you get lost in? What can, like me right now, I'm almost late for my next call. I could just get lost talking to you all because I love, love, love speaking life over you, your business, your dreams, your goals, and giving people hope. If I can do it, I absolutely know that you can do it. If my single mom, who was literally kicked out of our home and it was sold at a sheriff's sale, and she put 4 babies in one bed in a single wide trailer with the pipes not even working. Today, she owns most of the town. She owns 90 properties, a car wash, a campground, had a putt-putt, has Airbnbs, has a bunch of head of cattle. I call her before I left 2 days ago, Mom, what you doing? Feeding my baby cows. Like, the woman prints money while she sleeps. And she's not doing what I do. She's not in direct sales. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to be in direct sales. I just think it's simpler, easier to get started, less money. In fact, it's free to join this month. Right now, the next 4 days, it's free to join my team. You don't even have to pay for anything. You can get on a couple products and you get plugged right into a system, and it's absolutely free. So I don't know what your excuse is other than fear. Most people don't get started because fear of failure, fear of not being accepted, fear of not being loved, fear of looking stupid, fear of success. What if I do succeed and then what am I going to do? Guys, fear is false evidence appearing real. All you have to do is raise your hand and say, pick me. I need someone to mentor me. I need someone to coach me. I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of struggling. I know I have talents. I know I have gifts. Help. Somebody just say help. And I will guarantee you, whoever shared this with you, in fact, share it right now, because there's a lot of people on their knees praying for something to come along. Share this and tag a friend that needs to hear that they are enough, that they do have gifts and talents that they don't even know, and you want to encourage them to step into that. It's Labor Day, free enterprise. You can go and be and do anything you want. It's a day off for all the laborers. I'm going to tell you, when you start working harder on yourself than you do on your day job, work harder on your dreams and goals than you do on your boss's dreams and goals, that's the secret to being an entrepreneur. If I can build you the people, you can build any business. And that's my goal every Saturday on No Guts, No Story. So I see some of you saying, help. I can't wait to help you. We will get you everything you need to get started. And it's free to join right now. So let me invite you to a time in your life where you step into greatness. You have a proven system. You have a plan to get out of debt. You have mentors that will coach you and teach you exactly what to do. And a friend who shared this with you that will say, here's the link, join my team for free if you want, or keep plugging in and find your own niche, find your own dreams and goals. But whatever you do, the sure way to miss this success and just go to your grave with songs unsung and talents unused and gifts never tapped into is to completely miss the opportunity. The opportunity is right in front of you. You know what you need to do. Step into it, use your talent, use your gifts, get a mentor. That's the most important thing, who will teach you and coach you to have and be and do exactly what they have done. And I don't know how you could ever fail unless you quit. So I hope you guys have an amazing, safe Labor Day weekend. And I look forward to seeing you next Saturday on No Guts, No Story. But do me a favor, what's your one takeaway? What's your one takeaway? Please comment something that's sticking out in your head. I want to know what it was, and tag a friend that you think needs to hear this. And if you really want to make impact, share it. Have a good day,